Hello, it's Tom Morgan here with another weekly update, and next week is Microsoft Ignite. So there are a couple of blog posts you can use to help you keep track of Ignite if you're not going, and in fact even if you are going, because there's usually so much stuff going on, there's so many sessions and so many things to attend that it's actually quite hard to keep track of everything that's going on. So the first of those has been published by Buckley. And it's the 5 ways to track Microsoft Ignite remotely. Christian Buckley, he blogs at buckleyplanet.com, and he's got some good information about the keynotes, and he's got some good RSS feeds you can subscribe to, and he's got some good tips for keeping track of what's going on social media channels as well. And so that's definitely worth looking at. There's also some links in there to the tech community, the Microsoft tech community site, and some other kind of notes and things as well. The other place I would go to keep track of what's happening at Ignite is Matt Landis. So Matt does this every year. So Matt is a Skype for Business MVP, and every year he does a really good set of notes from events like this. And he's already got a web page up, his Ignite 2017, Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams notes. So if you want to keep track of what's happening in that space specifically, then I'd suggest you keep Matt's page loaded and keep hitting refresh on that to get updates as and when they happen. At the moment it's kind of a placeholder, but it looks like he's got places marked in there for all the days of Ignite. So looking forward to seeing that filled out a little bit. Okay, so no blog posts from me this week, but there were a couple of other things that I thought were interesting and wanted to draw your attention to. The first of those, surprisingly, is a UCMA blog post that has been put out by Zach Campbell, who is a service engineer on the Skype for Business online services team. So this is a new UCMA deep dive technical article, and they don't come along very often anymore. So it's really good to see that actually under the hood, Microsoft, they still care about UCMA. It's still very much a core part of the technology stack in delivering Skype for Business solutions. And there's a good blog post here about the relationship between different objects inside that UCMA application space. So that's a good refresher for if you've not looked at this for a while, but if you're coming into this as well and you want to understand the differences between trusted applications, application endpoints, trusted computers, and all those, how they all link together, then this is a really good blog post. There's some good diagrams in there as well that you can use. All right, so moving over slightly to more cognitive services stuff for a minute. And the Bot Framework team have published some extracts from a paper that was done by researchers at the Technical University of Munich. And the title of the paper is Evaluating Natural Language Understanding Services for Conversational Question Answering Systems. And there's 4 such services that were evaluated. So there's Lewis, which is Microsoft's, which is the Language Understanding Intelligence Service. There's Watson Conversation, which is IBM's. There's API.ai, and there's RASA. The last 2 I don't know that much about, but they are sort of different AI solutions. They're focused on conversational AI as well. The authors actually make a note that there are a couple of natural language services which aren't covered in the study. Specifically, they call out Amazon Lex, for instance. The reason for that is that they're still quite new, and they don't include enough batch import functionality to make a study like this feasible. And it's interesting to look through the charts. It's interesting as well, actually, just to read how researchers actually go about comparing different conversational UI services, because I wouldn't know how to do that, and it's interesting to see how they do that. So they use what's called an F-score, which is a measure of accuracy, and it's based on precision and recall, and they go into some detail about how exactly that's done. And it's a good you know, it's a good article. It turns out, you know, Lewis comes out on top. I guess that's why, you know, the bot framework team have called attention to it. But it's interesting to read, you know, its relative strengths and weaknesses to some of the other platforms as well. All right, and finally, there is a new sort of piece of documentation, a new resource for Microsoft Teams, and that's the planning workshop for Microsoft Teams. So the planning workshop is put out by Microsoft, and it's a presentation that you can download and use, and you can use it to start that process of having an interactive conversation about getting started with Microsoft Teams. So it's designed to help you kickstart that conversation around Teams, you know, how to start running it inside your business, and how to position it, how to talk about it, how to explain how it is different from other solutions and other systems. So that's good, it's useful. It's always good when Microsoft put out these resources that help people who have to implement this stuff. It's also good for the rest of us as well to see where Microsoft think that those important parts are, and what they see as important. Just bring up the PowerPoint now, actually, just have a quick look through it. It's around planning, delivering and operating teams. There's a whole agenda that you can pick from. You don't have to do the whole thing. It goes through all the different teams, like the clients and the licensing, security and compliance, how you do management, how you do network planning, how you do change management, and how you do adoption, and what the next steps are. So it's a really good kind of checklist. It's required reading, really, if you're thinking of or about to roll out Teams in your organization. All right, so that's everything for this week. If you're at Ignite next week, have a great week. Let us know all the key information. Find me on Twitter, call out the stuff that you find interesting, and I'll talk about it on one of these. Otherwise, I will see you next week for what I'm sure will be an extended edition because of all the Ignite news. Thanks very much.